The heavens tell about the glory of God. The skies show that his hands created them. Day after day they speak about it. Night after night they make it known, but they don't speak or use words. No sound is heard from them. At the same time, their voice goes out into the whole earth. Their words go out from one end of the world to the other. God has set up a tent in the heavens for the sun. The sun is like a groom coming out of the room where he has spent his wedding night. The sun is like a great runner who takes delight in a running race. It rises at one end of the heavens, then it moves across to the other end. Nothing can hide from its heat. Psalm 19.
Thanks, Annalise. Now, one of the things that particular passage tells us is that God is an amazing artist, and indeed we can see his amazing artistry when we look at the sky. And so I just want to show you a few photos that help us to see just what an amazing artist God really is. So here's the first one. This was taken at sunrise at my house. So this photo has not been doctored in any way. I was standing at the kitchen sink and I saw this beautiful sunrise. And I've got to go and take a photo of that. So I got my phone and took the photo. And look at it, what a beautiful range of colours. You've got greys in there with bright orange and sort of nearly bordering on browns. Isn't it a beautiful, beautiful sunrise? And I'm sure there are many times when you have seen things like that and gone, wow, isn't that incredible? This particular photo is a sunset. This was taken on my first day working here, so back in April last year, and it was taken right out the front gate. So if you sort of stand at the front gate and look up, that's the site. So you can actually see the give way sign at the top of the street there and the power poles. But again, look at the amazing colours that we see with that particular sunset. And it's not just sunrise and sunset where the sky is amazing. Also during the day, if you look out, today is a beautiful blue sky, and you just kind of marvel at the beauty of the blue, don't you? And when you see the big sort of thunderclouds come in, they look really awesome and impressive too. But at night time, we see all the stars, don't we? And it ends up if you feel really, really small when you're standing up and you're looking at the sky and you see all these thousands of stars. We're just reminded of just how incredibly small we all are and just how amazing that night sky is. Apparently, the human eye can see 4,000 stars, but we know there are many, many more than that out there. Science tells us that. Now, it's not just the sky that God made and that shows that he is an amazing artist, and indeed amazing artist who has inspired other artists. There's also other things. So here's a picture of Catherine Gorge up in the Northern Territory. And again, it's hard not to look at that and be amazed. The sheer cliffs that are there, the beautiful river. We've got a guy who's in here on his boat. Don't know if you can see it just there. I hope there's no crocs there. And again, we've got the sky that's grey. But also you have scenes like Ayers Rock. And look at the lightning that's there. Isn't that an incredible picture that we see of how it is that God has made different things? But it's not just the sky where we see that God's an amazing artist. It's not just in the land, but it's also in the different creatures that God has made. And so we see that God has made beautiful, wonderful, colourful birds. And isn't it just amazing just to watch birds soaring up in the air and flying in the way that they do, that they can do that kind of thing? But it's not just birds where we see God's masterful artistry at work, but also under the sea. And with beautiful fish like this, indeed the Great Barrier Reef is one place that people love to go to because of just all the colourful coral that exists there. But it's not just the fish, it's not just the birds where we see God's amazing handiwork. It's also with the different creatures that we see in the world as well. And so we have creatures like this with beautiful spots and beautiful coats. But it's not just creatures where we see God's amazing handiwork either. It's with people. Indeed, we're told that we are the tip of the iceberg, if you like, when it comes to God's creation. God has made us in different sizes, in different shapes, with different hair colour, different skin colour. But everyone that God has made, he considers to be a masterpiece. One of the sad things in our world is that we don't think that way, do we? we tend to rank people up higher than others, but in God's sight, everyone has been fearfully and wonderfully made. And that's something we should always remember. And so, what we see, the Bible tells us, is that God is this amazing artist, and as you look around the world, you cannot help but to see the incredible work that He has done. And that work of God, that artwork of God through all that He has made, has also inspired many, many people to become artists and to create things themselves. So in terms of the sky, we've got a picture here by Van Gogh, which is called Starry Night. And so obviously as he has looked up and looked at the stars in the sky, he has been inspired to want to paint something like this. And it's not just the sky that really inspires people. We have a Monet painting here of a landscape, a bridge. This is called water tulips from memory. I'm not a significant art critic, by the way. But again, he has looked at what it is that God has made, the water, the trees and all that, and he has given his impression. He has been greatly motivated, inspired to do that. Now, it's not just landscapes or sky that have inspired artists. The animals have also inspired artists, and I've got a picture here which I'm very proud of. It's not mine, but it's my daughter's. So she painted this picture of a tiger, and this was actually a copy of another girl who I think was age 8 when she painted this painting originally. But people have also been inspired to paint creatures, if you like. So I'll just put that there. And then the final thing people have been inspired to paint are people themselves. Who knows what the name of this painting is? This is the only painting I know the name of. Alison? No, not quite. The Mona Lisa. That's right. It's the Mona Lisa. This hangs up in the Louvre in Paris. If you go there, this is the one that's behind really, really thick glass so that you can't get to it. All the others are open for display. But the Mona Lisa, and apparently the thing about the Mona Lisa that really stands out is the mouth. They're not sure whether the mouth is smiling or doing something else, but we see that countless people throughout the ages have been inspired to paint other people, and you might have heard of the Archibald Prize. That's the only art prize I've heard of. Well, that's for portraits of famous people. So again, we see that people have been inspired to paint people. But artists haven't just been inspired to paint things that God has created. They've also been inspired to paint things that God has done. Who can tell me what this particular painting is depicting for us? Yep. Yeah, Jesus carrying the cross. That's right. And so, as we heard from our memory verse, Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners. That's a very, very significant thing. For in the death of Jesus on the cross, we see God at work rescuing people, rescuing all of us who have actually done the wrong thing by him. And so people have been so inspired by God's love and the cost that he paid that they paint paintings like that. But that's not the only thing that God has done that inspires people. There's one thing that God will do that also inspires artists, and we read about this in this part of the Bible at the end. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life. It was as clear as crystal. It flowed from the throne of God and of the Lamb. It flowed down the middle of the city's main street. Imagine a river like that, clear as crystal. We then read this. On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit. Its fruit was ripe every month. The leaves of the tree bring healing to the nations. There will no longer be any curse. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city. God's servants will serve him. They will see his face. His name will be on their foreheads. There will be no more night. They will not need the light of a lamp or the light of the sun. The Lord God will give them their light. They will rule forever and ever. So this is a wonderful word picture, if you like, that God has given us that talks about the future for those who have accepted Jesus. And this is what we call heaven. So a couple of things that really stand out about that. There's no curse. in this place. There's no illness, there's no evil, there's no death. And it is a place without any form of pollution whatsoever. And this place is a place that has inspired many to paint. And this is what actually Belinda has been painting. Andrew, do you want to come on up? We're going to show you how these verses have now inspired Belinda. There we go. Belinda, don't go away. Talk us through what it is that you've done here.
Excuse the voice. It's the river in front of the City of God. So the City of God is in the background. The trees that are producing 12 different crops of fruit are in the front. There's stairs that lead to the throne of Christ. And there's no need for any sun because he is the sun in that place. So, yeah.
There you go. And remember, when we started, that was a blank canvas. So that's pretty impressive, isn't it? So let's give Belinda a round of applause. Well, as I mentioned before, many people have been inspired by the way in which God has created and the way in which God has acted to do art.